Good morning, everyone. Am I audible? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. See, you might have seen the syllabus. In this semester, you have two subjects, and semantic web is one among them. See, semantic web was not there for CS students. Earlier, it was there only for MTech network students, NIE students. So if you search for semantic web question papers and all, it will not be there under CS, MTech CSE. Okay, MTech NIE branch was there. In that, the subject was there, and it's a like subject is very latest subject, but in the syllabus only overview, just theory part of the subject has been covered. Okay, nothing much is there. Only small topics are there. In exam also, questions will be very simple. If you see 3 or 4 previous year question papers, everything will repeat from that itself. Because only if you see the syllabus itself, one heading is one page itself. Textbook you might have not got it. Okay, but syllabus is very simple. Just overview of what is semantic web, social networks, just overview. Everything on the surface he has covered here. With this knowledge, hopefully you can gain this knowledge and implement it in your projects or anything. But we have a lot of tools for these things, okay, that are already available. We can make use of the knowledge gained here and implement those things. Okay, so I will start with the subject first, introduction. See, when we talk about web application. Here, semantic web means we will be talking about intelligence. So, the meaning of the term thinking or intelligence must be provided in the context of intelligent applications on the World Wide Web, as it is frequently loosely defined and ambiguously applied. In general, thinking can be a complex process that uses concepts, their interrelationships, and inference or deduction to produce new knowledge. However, thinking is often used to describe such disparate acts as memory recall, arithmetic calculations, creating stories, decision making, puzzle solving, and all. A person or an individual is considered as an intelligent if he possesses qualities like accurate memory recall, the ability to apply valid and correct logic, and the capability to expand their knowledge through learning and deduction. The term intelligence can be applied to non human entities, as we do in the field of artificial intelligence, but frequently we mean something somewhat different than in the case of human intelligence. For example, a person who performs difficult arithmetic calculation quickly and accurately would be considered as intelligent, but a computer that could perform the same calculation faster and with greater accuracy would not be considered as intelligent. Human thinking involves complicated interactions within the biological components of the brain, and that the process of learning is also an important element of human intelligence. Software applications perform tasks that are sufficiently complex and human like that the term intelligent may be appropriate, but artificial intelligence is the science of machines simulating intelligent behavior. The concept of intelligent application on the World Wide Web takes the advantages of AI technologies in order to enhance applications and make them behave in more intelligent ways. Here, question arises regarding web intelligence or intelligent software applications on the World Wide Web. The World Wide Web can be described as an interconnected network of networks. The present day web consists not only of the interconnected networks, servers, and clients, but also the multimedia hypertext representation of vast quantities of information distributed over an immense global collection of electronic devices, with software services being provided over the web. The current web consists of static data representation that are designed for direct human access and use. Okay. These two terms, it will come everywhere in your syllabus. See, humans have gone through these revolutions. We are we are used to live in rapidly changing environment. This is true in all aspects of our society and culture, but is especially true in the field of information technology. It is common to be observe such rapid change, and we say that things change. Over the past decades, human beings have experienced two global revolutionary changes: the agricultural revolution and the industrial revolution. Each revolutionary change not only enhanced the access of human resources but also freed the individuals to achieve higher level cultural and social goals. In addition, over the past half century, the technological inventions of the information age may in fact be such scope as to represent a third revolutionary change, that is information revolution. The issue that the rapidly changing world of information age be considered a global revolutionary change on the scale of earlier revolutions can be resolved by comparing the changes associated with the agriculture revolution and the industrial revolution. Before the agriculture revolution, human beings moved to warmer region in the winter season and back to the colder region in the summer season. Human beings were able to migrate to all locations on the earth as they have the flexibility of human species and the capability to create adaptable human cultures. The adaptable human culture survived and thrived in every environmental niche on the planet by fishing, herding, and like of these activities. Human beings lived to stay permanently in a single location as soon as they discovered the possibility of cultivating crops. The major implementation of a non-migratory lifestyle is that small portion of land could be exploited intensively for long period of time. Another implication in the agricultural communities concentrated the activities into one or two period associated with growing and harvesting the crops. This new lifestyle allowed individuals to save their resources and spend on their activities. In addition, it created a great focus on the primary necessity of planting, nurturing, and harvesting the crops. The individual become very conscious of time. Apart from these, they become reliant on the following special skills and knowledge associated with agricultural production, storage and protection of food supplies, distribution of products within the community, sufficient seed for the new near life cycle planning. The lifestyle is different from hunter-gathered lifestyles. The agriculture revolution slowly moved across villages and regions, introducing land cultivation as well as new way of life. During agriculture revolution, human and animal muscles were used to produce the energy required to run the economy. As soon as the French Revolution came into existence, millions of horses and oxen produced the power required to run the economy. Okay, slowly we shifted from agriculture revolution to industrial revolution. Okay, like we started with the invent of machine, engine. We started moving from everything became production machine oriented. So we started to move towards agriculture revolution to industrial revolution. Currently, we can say that we are in the industrial revolution. And what is the main source for industrial revolution? Is nothing but we can say internet. Okay, information revolution main source is internet. We all know what is www. World Wide Web is a repository of information spread all over the world and linked together. The www has a unique combination of flexibility, portability, user-friendly features that distinguish it from other services over the internet. See, this internet project was started by one European laboratory to create a system to handle distributed resources necessary for scientific research. Okay, this lab we call it as CERN, CERN. The web today is distributed client-server service. You already know what is web, how it works, in which client using a browser can access a service using a server. However, the service provided is distributed over many locations called websites. Okay, the web consists of many web pages that incorporate text, graphics, sound, animation, and other multimedia components. Okay, these web pages are connected by hypertext. In hypertext environment, the information is stored using the concept of pointers. Okay, www uses a concept of HTTP, which allows communicate between a web browser and web server. The web page can be created using HTML. This language has some commands which are used to inform the web browser about the way of displaying the text, graphics, and multimedia. HTML also has commands through which we can gain link to the web pages. Okay, it is nothing but distributed client server in which client using web browser can access a service using the server. Okay, working of web, you know how web works. Okay, WW works on client server approach. Okay, as you can see in the diagram, user enters the URL, some www.google.com or anything of the web page in the address bar of the web browser. Then browser requests the domain name server for the IP address corresponding to that web page, whatever you have entered. After receiving IP address, browser sends the request for web page to the web server using HTTP protocol, which specify the way the browser and web server communicates. Then the web server receives request using HTTP protocol and check its search for the requested web page. If found, it returns it back to the web browser and close the HTTP connection. Now the web browser receives the web page, it interprets it and displays the content of web page in the web browser window. Okay, simple HTTP working of your web. Okay. See, just introduction to the working of web. Okay. Now let's see the birth of internet, from where it all started. ARPANET, you might have heard of ARPANET. Okay. Licklider, a psychologist and a computer scientist, he put forward an idea in 1960 itself. Okay, to connect computers using wide band communication lines through which information can be shared. And he was hired as the head of computer research by the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, DARPA. Okay, the first ARPANET link was made on October 29, 1969. And it was between the University of California and Stanford Research Institute. Okay, there that connection was established, and only 2 letters were sent before the system crashed. Okay, while checking, only that much has happened, and then research started continuing. Okay, in the 1969 itself, they started it. ARPANET became a high-speed digital post office, as people use it to collaborate on research projects. Okay, it was a distributed system of many-to-many connection. And again, Stanford University and California University worked together, and they came up with Internet Protocol suites in 1977. Okay, these protocol suites helped to seamlessly link 3 different networks. Okay, transmission control, TCP and IP. Okay, you also know about these protocols. TCP/IP, a suite of network communication protocols used to connect. Okay, lot of hosts on the internet. Okay, and it has led to the growth of network, which we call today as internet. These protocols specify the framework for a few basic services that everyone would need. Basic services like file transfer, electronic mail, and remote login. Okay, across various a number of clients and server systems. Several computers linked local network can use TCP/IP within the local network. We can make it as the intranet also. Almost in mid 1980s, you know that personal computers came into the market. Okay, the combination of personal desktop machines and powerful network servers, okay, has led to the growth of internet, and many corporations began to use internet to communicate between themselves and their clients. Okay, that was the birth of internet. So this is the evolution of World Wide Web. By 1990, the ARPANET was decommissioned, and it was not in the picture from 1990, leaving only the vast network of network called the internet with almost over 3 lakh computers connected. The stage was set for the final step to move beyond the internet. And and these forces converged, accelerating the development of information technology. In 1991, World Wide Web was created by, remember this name, Timothy Berners-Lee. Okay, in 1989 at CERN in Geneva, World Wide Web came into existence as a proposal by him to allow researchers to work together effectively and efficiently at CERN. Eventually, it became World Wide Web. Okay, so you can call him as a father of World Wide Web, Timothy Berners-Lee. So this diagram briefly defines the evolution of World Wide Web. Okay, 3 stages. Now we can say we are in Web 3.0. Not exactly 3.0, but almost. Okay. The web combines words, pictures, sounds on internet pages. Programmers saw the potential for publishing information in a way that could be as easy as using word processor, but with a richness of multimedia. Berners-Lee and his collaborators has led to this groundwork for the open standards of the web. Their efforts included HTTP, linking web documents, HTML for formatting web documents, and URL for addressing web documents. The primary language for formatting web page is HTML. With HTML, the author describes what a page should look like, what types of font to use, what color the text should be, where paragraph marks come, and many more aspects of the document. All HTML documents are created by using tags. In 1993, Mark Anderson and few of his students at National Center for Supercomputing Applications, University of Illinois, developed a graphical browser for the World Wide Web called Mosaic. Okay, in 1993, web browser Mosaic came into existence, and which later became the browser called as Netscape Navigator. Okay. So this is the www architecture. Yeah, you might have seen all these things. I will just give introduction to all these fields. Uniform resource identifier is used to uniquely identify resource on the web, and Unicode makes it possible to build web pages that can be read or written in human languages. Okay, syntax XML, extensible markup language, helps to define common syntax in semantic web. Okay, it will help us to define the common syntax in semantic web. Data interchange, resource description framework, RDF. Okay, see, all these things we'll be studying in upcoming classes. RDF framework helps in defining core representation of data for web. RDF represents data about resource in graph form. And taxonomies, RDF schema, RDFS. RDF schema is called as RDFS, allows more standardized description of taxonomies and other ontological constructs. And ontologies. Okay, OWL, Web Ontology Language, offers more constructs over RDFS. It comes in the following 3 versions. Okay, OWL Lite for taxonomies and simple constraints, OWL-DL for full description logic support, OWL for more syntactic freedom of RDF. Rules, RIF and SWRL offers rules beyond the constructs that are available from RDF and OWL. Simple protocol and RDF query language is SQL-like language used for querying RDF data and OWL ontologies. Okay, cryptography means such as digital signature for verification of the origin of sources is used. All semantic and rules that are executed at layers below proof and their result will be used as proof deduction. User interface and application on the top of layer, user interface and application layer is built for user interaction. Okay, this is the architecture for Symantec Web WW. Anyhow, see, most of the things you are not like new for us. These things we'll see in the upcoming classes. Okay, like see, all of you do attend classes continuously, regularly. If we continue the classes regularly, very fast we can cover up the syllabus, because as I said, content is very less. Okay. So from the next class, we shall see certain limitation of today's web and what should be there in the next generation web. What are the things the intelligence should be? As we were talking, web should become intelligent by itself. We are talking about AI. We'll be seeing how AI can be integrated in the web. Okay, our web pages itself should become intelligent in the upcoming web. All our pages should act like machines who are and it should be artificially intelligent. Okay, so all of you quickly mark your attendance. Just write down your USN in the text box in the chat. All of you, okay, write your USN in the, because that will be taken as attendance. So in the chat, all of you just give your USN number. Okay, thank you. Next, I will continue in the next class.
Thank you, sir.